So hello everyone and welcome to lesson number 4. And today we have very important topics. We are starting with Excel formulas, Excel functions, as well as data model basics. But in this case, for today, specifically for today, because Excel, we are going to cover lots of formulas. I would like to start with the data modeling first, and then we will dive deep into Excel functions. Right, so the order will be kind of flipped. We will start with data modeling basics. We already discussed it last week. Today we will explain in more details data models. And let me admit everyone. All right, let's see the agenda for today. So the agenda, as I said, will be split into kind of 2 parts today. We will start with data modeling. We will explain what is a schema, how to design a schema, facts and dimensions, things like that, different tables that we have in the data warehouse, as well as star schema versus snowflake schema. So this is all about data model and schema design. And we will spend maybe half an hour, and the rest will be Excel, introduction to Excel for data analysts. We will cover basic functions like sum, average, mean, max, conditional functions, and so forth. Any questions regarding the agenda for today? All right. Can you guys please mute yourself, or I can mute you? I hear some TV in the background. All right, so let's see. Facts versus dimensions. Before we start kind of explaining the difference between fact tables, dimension tables, I would like to explain something that we started last week. What is a schema first? Because facts and dimensions, those are 2 types of tables that we have in the data warehouse. In 90% of the cases, in data warehouse, when you have a star schema, you will use 2 different types of tables. Before we discuss the facts and dimensions, I would like to show you different types of schemas. And for that, I just need to draw something. Can you see my Excel? Can you guys see my Excel spreadsheet?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Good.
Yes,
All
yes.
right. So last week we were talking about what we called bronze, silver, and gold, right? Remember, we had bronze, silver, and gold, like 3 different layers that we have in the data warehouse. So these 3, bronze, silver, and gold, these 3 layers, they belong to the data warehouse. Okay, this is one type of database, data warehouse, when we store all the analytics data. Analytics. All the data for the analytics stored in the data warehouse in these 3 layers. So that's what we call a analytical data warehouse. On the other hand, we have what we call transactional database. Transactional database, it's a big database, okay? And let's call it just DB. And what it means, basically, transactional database, those are all the historical data, all the transactions that we have, all the events that we have, everything that we scan, every transaction that our organization or any organization is storing in the company, stores in the transactional database, okay? So let me try to, any questions regarding transactional database and data warehouse so far? Any questions? If we go back to the image that we had last week, right? With this beautiful image. Let me just paste it here again. This image talks about only the data warehouse, okay? So this piece, what they call data system, this is the data warehouse. As you can see, the source systems right here, this is the transactional database. Those are the source systems. That's the way it works in every organization. So in most cases, it will be just another application, okay? You have big application. It can be SAP application, ERP application, any source system. Those are the source systems. Source. It can be ERP, SAP, Salesforce, whatever the application may be, okay? Those are transactional databases. Okay, they flow, they have behind them, they have a database, transactional database, or any other application. It can be any website, okay? It can be any website, let's call it web. Behind every website, there is a database, in most cases, transactional database. So those are all the events, all the operations that we have in our business. Any questions regarding the transactional database and why do we need it and why do we care about it? No questions. All right. So once we have all the data in the transactional database,
Well, I have
yeah, go ahead.
well, yeah, why we care about transaction? Is it not like work for BI?
No, transactional database, it's not for BI. The BI lives right here in the analytics. This is the BI data warehouse or the analytics database, or what we call data warehouse. It's just another different database. And the only difference between them is the schema design. Okay, that's why I would like to get into schema, because we have different design, the way we design the schema in each of these databases. In the database, because we want to write, we call it W, as fast as we can, right? We want to write all these records, all of these transactions, we need to store them super fast in the database. So this is transactional database because we need to write as fast as we can. So just an example, if you go to the superstore and you have item, you scan the item, at the same moment, this item is stored in the database. Transactional database behind the application, okay? So you need to write very fast into the transactional database.
Mm-hmm.
Versus the analytics, which is the data warehouse, we need to be able to read, okay? To read millions of records as fast as we can. Okay, so this one, we need to read it, and this one we need to write. They have different schema design. Transactional database, we want to write from the application, from source systems, from Excel spreadsheet, from any other application, any other sources. We would like to store it in the database, in transactional database. For example, transactional database can be, so you may ask, what do you mean transactional database?
Mm-hmm.
SQL Server, I don't know if you guys heard about SQL Server.
Mm-hmm.
This is just another example of transactional database. Oracle, another example of transactional database. SQL Server, MySQL, transactional database. Postgres, SQL. Different names, different vendors. This is Microsoft, this is Oracle, this is Oracle, this is by, I'm not sure who owns this Postgres. Those are transactional databases that out there in the industry, that if you work for a big organization, you probably have either SQL Server or Oracle, MySQL, Postgres. If you are in the cloud, so you have if you work in the cloud, you should have like Azure SQL DB. You may have a synapse, or maybe fabric. Those are all the famous databases in the cloud.
Okay,
No, these two I would like to ignore for now. SQL DB. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So the database, it's what file database have? Excel?
No. Database,
Mm-hmm.
it is not related to Excel at all. It's a repository by itself. Okay? It's a storage of data by itself. It's not Excel. There is a completely different tool to store the data in any organization. Okay, so Excel can store maximum 1 million rows. What happens if you have 2 million rows? You cannot store 2 spreadsheets. Okay, you need to create a database. You need to create inside your database multiple tables and store everything in all of these tables in the database.
Okay, if imagine that database is like a box, so what we can have inside this box? Like we can have Excel file, what else?
If the database is a box,
yeah,
we only have in the database, we have schema, we have tables, and then we have database objects like view or maybe store procedure. Those are all the different types of objects that we have inside the database. And it looks, when we say table, it looks like an Excel spreadsheet. It looks like this one. It looks like this table.
Yeah, so it's because when you work in like SQL, most time you working with Excel file.
Not necessarily, no, not necessarily. Maybe in your case, yes, but SQL is one thing. SQL is the language that we communicate with the database. Excel is just a Microsoft tool. It doesn't have to be connected to database. Like this Excel, you see, do you see my screen? Sheet 1. This is just a simple table that I pasted here in this tab. There is nothing to do with the database. Okay, this is just a very simple table that lives in Excel. That's it. It doesn't live in the database, just in Excel.
So I mean, like, so we can have our data, right? For customers orders or we can have it in Excel. And we can have it like review on Google. It will be different.
So let me tell you, Excel, this is the basic, okay? You start with Excel. You can store lots of million, like I said, up to million rows, you can store in Excel. But if you have a big organization and you need to get to the next level, you have lots of data, you have lots of tables, you have lots of customers, lots of employees, you need a database, okay? Excel will not help you. Excel is limited. Excel is not a database, okay? Period. Excel is a great and amazing tool, but it is completely different than a database. In a database, we store lots of data and we analyze millions of rows and millions of records. Excel, this is just the beginning.
So it's sort of, maybe question is silly, but I try to understand what database is. So we have like Word, Excel, and the database of how it works.
Sorry, you said Word? You said Word?
So, yeah, that database, how we can open? What tools we have open? SQL, Oracle?
These are the tools. These are the database tools that can have transactional database.
Нет, ты помылся? Да. Где мойся?
Можно потом помыться, можно выключить здесь.
Слышно нас?
Sorry, guys, can you mute yourself? It is very hard. Потом я скупаюсь. All right. Any other questions? regarding the transactional database. So as I said, Excel, it's a great Microsoft tool. There is nothing to do with databases, nothing. You can use it as a small database, but definitely Excel is not a database. Excel is a tool just to analyze the data on very high level. If you need to store millions of rows, big organization, you need a database, all right? Let's just put it that way for now. And we will see the difference. So as you can see, we have two different databases. And the difference between them, this is just the schema that we design in each database. One database we call transactional database, another one we call data warehouse. Okay, these two different databases, they have different schema design. We will have transactional design, we will have transactional design in the transactional database, and we will have analytical design or star schema, what we call, in the data warehouse. Okay, so remember this one, star schema lives right here, snowflake schema. These two different designs, they live in the data warehouse. On this side, on the transactional database, we have transactional design, or it's in most cases it's transactional design. Any questions? All right, so the way they connect, when we do a analytics, in most cases, as we see right here, we will do what we call ETL. ETL. So this process takes the data from the source, we create ETL pipeline, and we move it to the analytics. Exactly right here. This is the process. We will move data from the transactional database into the data warehouse by using a process, what we call ETL. At this point, you just need to understand it on high level, how we move the data between the source system into the transactional database. From transactional database, we move the data to the analytics. On this end, we have Power BI, okay? So the data analyst, once we have all the data in the analytics, on the analytics side or in the data warehouse, and specifically in the gold layer, the Power BI will be right here. And you can create all of these beautiful dashboards and beautiful graphs based on the dimensional model, the model that we will build in the data warehouse. Any questions regarding, just on high level, the difference between transactional database and data warehouse? No questions? All right. In the data warehouse, we only have, so you guys, by the way, you guys don't have to worry about the transactional database because probably you will not have any visibility as a data analyst into the transactional database. So you only have to worry about the data warehouse. Okay, so the data warehouse, you only care about the gold layer. In 99% of the cases, you will have the Power BI connected into the gold layer. By the way, to answer your question, what was your name that you asked? What is Excel and the difference between them? Excel can be connected also into the gold layer. Okay, so you can see all the tables in Excel, but you need to connect it to the data warehouse. Okay, so Excel is right here.
Okay.
You can connect it as a client. This is a client. So client is basically some kind of tool that you can connect to some kind of backend. And in this case, that would be a data warehouse. Now in data warehouse, we have two types of tables. We have fact table, facts, and we have dimension tables. In the fact table, we store all the calculations, all the metrics, all the historical data, aggregation, summary, everything that has a number, okay? Everything that we would like to calculate, to summarize, we will store it in the fact table. Dimension, inside dimension, we will store everything that will describe the fact table. So it will be like customer table, location table, customer, location, any a product, everything that will describe the metrics. So for instance, the dimension will answer the question, what happened, when happened, why it happened. Okay, the dimension will answer all of these questions. So we will store customer, location, product, everything that will describe the metrics. Because if I tell you I have 100 as a value in my table, 100 what? 100 stores, 100 customers, 100 locations, 100 products. The dimension will store all of these description types of data, and the fact will store the 100, the metrics, the calculation, the summary. And what we will have to do is just to join between them. And we will talk about join later. Once we join these two tables, then we will have what we call a star schema. This guy right here. Any questions so far? So the reason I didn't jump into this slide is because before we get into facts and dimension, you need to understand what is a schema and what is the difference between two different databases. And hopefully you understand by now that we have two different types of databases, which is different types of schema. The schema that we will focus in this course, entire course, from today until the end of the course, you will hear the star schema always, okay? Star schema, 1 second, I forgot the A. Star schema. So star schema, this is our focus. In the star schema, we will have facts and dimension tables. So what is a fact table? Fact table is designed to store quantable events and transactions. Okay, so everything will be stored in the fact table, all the numeric stuff. Typically, they are very large tables. They have millions of rows. It can be 5, 10 million, 1 billion in the database. As long as you have storage capacity, you can store billions of records in one table, which we cannot do in Excel. In Excel, the row number is limited to 1 million. All right, and they include things like keys, metrics, measures, everything that is with numeric values. For instance, a sales fact table can have all of these fields like order ID, date ID, customer ID, product ID, quantity, and revenue. So these two, as you can see, let me try to show you something, that these two the quantity, this one, sorry, the revenue, it's something that you need to calculate, right? Because you have so many sales, you have the product cost, you need to multiply how many items you sold. This is a calculation. Quantity, this is also sometimes you need to calculate the quantity. As you can see in the fact table, you have measures that you store the analytical data, okay? The rest of these columns, like order ID, date ID, customer ID, product ID, these columns, they will come from the dimensions, and we will join it. Any questions? That's the way we build the fact table. Any questions regarding what kind of data we store in the fact tables? Okay. In the dimension tables, as I said, this is the context. This is about the description of the fact, all the details about the fact. We will ask question, who is storing the data, like customers, employees, what we have in the organization. We have locations, we have stores, we have inventory, all of these items, where it happened and when it happened. Definitely the dimension, the time is very critical. So that means we will have to have one dimension that will describe the date, the day, the year, the month, the week. This is all about the time. So when specific transaction happened, okay? And by the way, all the transactions that we had in the transactional database, it will move to the fact table. For example, customer dimension, yeah, we already mentioned that. Customer ID, customer name, city, age. This is a customer table. We will store everything in this kind of table. Any questions regarding the difference between facts and dimensions? All right. Star schema versus snowflake schema. I think I would like just to illustrate it. And I would like to jump into Excel right away. But before that, let me show you. So why we call it the star schema? Because of a very simple reason. It looks like a star, okay? I don't know, for some people it maybe looks like a star, but the idea is, and that's what we call the star schema. Star schema is because we have the fact table in the center and the dimension tables surround it. In our dimension, so we always start with the dimension tables, and then we bring the primary keys from the dimension tables into the fact tables. As you can see, we have dim customer, we have customer ID, customer name, and city. We also have dim location, location ID, location name, location description. In the customer ID, as you can see, we have customer ID in the fact table as well. So this is a primary key, this is a foreign key in my fact table. The same with location. Location dimension, we have location ID. We also have location ID, the same column we bring into the fact table. We also have the product dimension. We have product ID, product name, category, price. The product ID goes as a primary key in the dimension, foreign key in the fact table. Last one, for this example, we have the dim date. So we know the date, the month, the year, and the day. And we have the date ID right here as the foreign key in the fact table. So now I can see when the sale happened, what product was sold, who is the customer that bought the product, and what location. As you can see, if I join between these 5 tables, I will be able to find the quantity and the amount in every transaction that happened in my business. And this is the star schema. And this is one type of schema that we use in the data warehouse. Any questions? Anyone? Make sense? Do you guys understand why do we need to use star schema and how it works in the data warehouse?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now let's see what is the difference between star schema and snowflake schema. So as you can see, this is the snowflake schema. Snowflake schema, it is very similar to the star schema because we already have all of these tables. We have the same dimensions, but we also bring another layer to the dimension that we join dimension with dimension. So let me show you the difference. This is the star schema. Star schema, we only have fact table in the middle and dimensions connected to the fact. That's what we call star schema. And by the way, Power BI only uses star schema. So everything that we learn here, you will use it in the next lesson, in the next class, in the next, everything is on top of each other. So if you miss this class, for instance, that you don't listen, probably Power BI will be a little bit challenging, all right? So just to explain, Snowflake is just another design in the data warehouse, what we call a snowflake, because it looks like a snowflake. And the only difference between the star schema and the snowflake schema is that we can connect another hierarchy table into our dimension tables. For instance, dim category, because product can have multiple categories. You can have a, I don't know, if it's a computer, you have a laptop, you have tablet, you have a iPhone, whatever, a mobile, you have different categories, right? This is just one example. The same with region. City, we also have regions in terms of the hierarchy. We have also provinces. So just to build the hierarchy, we use the snowflake schema. But I can guarantee 100% that going forward, you don't have to worry about the snowflake schema, because out there as an industry standard, we only use the star schema. The only reason I'm explaining the snowflake schema is because don't be confused with the snowflake product. Snowflake, a database or data warehouse, okay, data warehouse. This is a product by itself, and there is a company. The name of the company is Snowflake. So don't be confused. This is a schema design, Snowflake.
Alex, are you sharing your screen? Because we can see you, but we cannot see your screen anymore.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. You cannot see my screen?
No.
I can see your screen.
Oh.
Yeah. So some of you can see my screen and some of you cannot. Okay, let me stop sharing.
I just realized there are two tabs. One is, yeah, okay, now I can see it. I figured it out. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. All right, so all I'm trying to say, we have Snowflake schema, which is basically to build hierarchy in data warehouse if needed. Going forward, you only will need to use the star schema, because Power BI is built on star schema, and it's way more simple. Okay, it's simpler because we only have one fact table and multiple dimension tables. And by the way, going forward, you can have multiple fact tables and lots of dimensions, but the dimensions will always be connected to the fact tables. Okay, this is very simple example. But if you see 2 fact tables, 5 fact tables, and lots of dimensions connected to it, this is okay. This is still star schema design in data warehouse. All right, so now we know the difference between the star schema and the snowflake schema. Any questions before we dive into Excel, which is completely different topic, okay? So we were talking about databases, data warehouse, transactional database, and versus analytical database right here. Now we are talking about Excel. So let me go to my first tab, and in Excel, who needs a kind of high-level overview? What is Excel? Can you guys just let me know who this is the first time that he sees Excel in front of him? How many people we have? Okay, so you probably seen before Excel, correct? So I don't have to introduce the let's say, all of these buttons and all of the bells and whistles of Excel. Correct? Right. So what we are going to talk about in terms of Excel is, yeah, you already know that Excel, this is a great tool for data analyst, okay? And this is the most popular, and this is the basic of everything. This is the basic of data analyst, of data warehouse, DBA. Everyone who touches data in general or does some kind of analytics knows that Excel, this is the best tool for the last 40 years, okay? And the reason we start with Excel, because once you know Excel on very high level, on very deep level, sorry, not high level, on very deep level, advanced level, it will be easier for you to analyze the data in Excel, of course, as well as in Power BI, as well as in SQL, in SQL. When I say SQL, it means also SQL. Any questions regarding Excel? Why do we need Excel? Okay. So I see in the chat, I started to learn Excel recently. So we will start from the beginning, okay? What is Excel? Why do we need Excel? And what can we do in Excel? We are going to cover a couple functions, the basic functions that we have in Excel. So what I did, I don't want to spend time to explain what is a tab, what is a cell, what is a table. You probably know all of these, the basic stuff of Excel, correct? You know how Excel works. We just need to understand the next level. All right, so what I did, I just pasted here. As you can see, I have 100 rows. This is a sample data of some kind of sales or whatever. We have the order ID, which is a primary key. I can create a filter just to see that we don't have any funny stuff. Nice. Okay, we can filter the column. If you click on data and filter, you can see that everything looks good in terms of the data. So that means order date. I expect to see only dates. I don't want to see any garbage in this column. I don't want to see any funny stuff like customer name should be in the customer name column. I should not expect to see anything other than dates in my order table. The same with customer name. I would expect to see a bunch of names here. City, I would like to see only city names. Product, we have lots of products here. Category, quantity, unit price. Nice. This is the price in dollars or whatever. And we also have discount. 50%, 100%, and payment method. So this is a very simple table, and we don't have any garbage data. Everything looks good, and the data is very clean and very kind of obvious. Makes sense, right? So this is very basic table. What we would like to do is just to start using some basic functions. When I say basic functions, I mean like sum, like average. Let me start with this one, and I can do my sum here. Okay, so let's start with sum. I will go home. Sum. And right here in this column, I would like to summarize this entire column. Column G, you see this is G. I would like to summarize the entire column, and this column G is quantity. Let's summarize the entire quantity. In order to summarize the entire quantity, we always start the function with the equal sign. Then we can say sum. If you type it, you can see that we have this helper. You can click on it. And then you need to provide so the summary opens the brackets, right? And in the brackets, we need to provide what exactly we would like to summarize. And I can go with my mouse, click here, or I can select or Control Shift up. I can select everything, the entire column G, but I don't need the header, right? I don't need the quantity name. So what I did, I just selected the entire column. And now I can close my bracket and it will summarize everything here. Any questions regarding the summary? All right, because I think this is like the basic, right? Average. We can do the same with average. We would like to average everything. Average. And again, we would like to average this one all the way, Control Shift arrow up. I can select this entire column. And this is my average. Let me just make it yellow, everything here. Any questions regarding the average? This is the basic, all of these basic functions, right? We also have minimum. We would like to know the minimum number in this quantity. So the minimum number, we can use the function, or we can see that the minimum number here is number 1. But in this case, we'd like to use the function. So let's just do right here. You click on the cell. In this bar, you say equal minimum. You use the minimum function. You say, oh, I would like to minimum this entire column, right? Shift Control arrow up. I don't want the name. It will give me the minimum number in this column. So I guess if you guys have no questions, this is the basic of the basic, right? Maximum. So let's just let's do it fast. Maximum, the same idea here. I can say max. And I would select my column. This is the maximum value that I have in the quantity. And the maximum quantity that I have is number 8. We can also do a count. We would like to count. The same idea. Count. Click here. All the way up. This is the count. We know that we have 100 rows, right? So this is the count of the rows. It's a different, it's not the summary of the values. It's the number of rows. Okay? We also have, I believe, all of these functions, by the way, you have them right here in the slide. So all I'm doing, just following the slides. Okay, count A. Count A would count all the records, that all the rows that you have. It will count also when you have zero, when you don't have values or nulls. Okay. In this case, we don't have any empty spaces. As you can see in column G, we have all the values. We don't have any nulls. So it will be exactly the same. But count A is another function that will take into account only the values that we do have data. Let me take it down. All right. Sum if. Let's see. Some.
Can I talk about before?
Sorry?
So, what difference again between count and count A? So, if you don't have any values in the row, how it give us exact what how many rows we have.
Let me
And-
show you. Let me show you. So every function that you have and you're using, you can ask ChatGPT, or you can ask Excel itself, what does it mean count A? If you click on this, you see this insert function. See this guy here? If you click on that, it will open this window and it will show you the function that you're using, and it will explain what the function does. Counts the number of cells in the range that are not empty. All right? The same with another function that we use, the summary.
Okay, so if we will have one space for now, one space we will have, it will give us number not 199.
Yeah. It will.
Mhm.
Yes.
And count give us a 100.
Sorry.
Right.
I couldn't
And-
hear the next bit. The next.
Let's imagine, so in this spreadsheets we have all, so we doesn't have no numbers, so we have so count give us 100 and account give us 100. If we have one row is no, so count give us 100 and count A give us 99.
Let's try it. I don't know. Let's try it. Let me cut it.
So this is different.
No, look at the column I. I think it's just take column I and you will see the difference, because it's all nulls there.
Yeah. So you see, I removed the 2 and 5 from here, and now we have 99. Hey, 98, sorry. 98. We have in both columns. 1 second. Yeah, from 101.
So okay,
The count
it
is 98. Yeah.
means so these two functions really similar, but any case it's better use count A always, right?
Yes, because sometimes you may have empty cell, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Let's just bring 2, 5. And we can delete it, so we can clean off. Right. Sum if. Let's see what sum if does. Sum if. The sum if, the way it works is basically I will do the sum if not on this column, on another column. Let's go here. And let me do sum if. So it will take the condition. We need to select the range, and then we need to select the condition. Okay, so we will take it from, let's say, right here, from 95, just all of these numbers. I will take 300, 100, all of these numbers, right? And I can say, but I would like to summarize only if I have greater or equal to 100. So that means, you see, I have 80. This 80 is less than 100. So I should not summarize it. The sum if function, the way it works, it will summarize the range with a condition. And the condition that I said is where summarize everything that is greater or equal to 100. All right, and it's like 1250 because it doesn't take into account the 80, because the 80 in our case, in this range, 80 is less than 100. Make sense? This is sum if. All right, can do the same idea with the count if. Count if, let's see. If I do count if, I can do it here. Just to show we can work on different columns. And by the way, all of these functions, they can only work on columns that we have integer, that we have numbers. We cannot calculate toys and clothes to give me a summary or to give me an average or to give me, we can do minimum, maximum. It will give me only the letter A, B, C, D, which one comes first. But on high level, definitely when we use all of these functions, we need to use column that has only numeric values. I believe this is kind of makes sense to all of us, correct? All right. In the count if, what we would like to do is we would like to count the number. Let's do count if. Now, if with this function, I would like to select the entire column of city, the city column. Let me just select. And I would like to count how many times I have Calgary in my table. So I just selected the range, and I'm saying count everything, everywhere that you have Calgary. Okay? Because I have city Calgary, and I live in Calgary, I would like to know how many times I have Calgary in this table. And I have 16 times Calgary in my table. Count if will count with a condition. All right? Any other questions? All right, we also have the very simple and generic functions like today, and we also have now, we also have year. Those are the dates, okay, month. We have all of these great functions. We can use them if you click and you do just today. Sorry, we need today and we need quotes, close. It will give us today's date. Today is February 2nd, 2026. Let's see what is the time now. Now, if you use the now function, it will give you the date and the time. Okay, the way the year function works is that it works on year. You select the function, but you need to select some kind of value that has a date. So for instance, I will click random number, random date. You see this one is March 25th, 2024. I would like to extract only the year, and it will give me 2024. Okay, this is the way it works. The same idea with month. Month, this is the function. You just select another column that has some kind of date value, and it will extract only the month. And here I expect to see number 3 because this is March. Any questions? All right. Let's see other examples of basic functions. Let's go and start some like if function. Let's do that. If. So let me just copy everything that we will cover in the next couple minutes. Let me just do that. We will cover if, we will cover and. Those are the simple basic functions, not left, right. We also have len, which is the length, and we'll see if we will have enough time to cover everything. All right, the if function, the way it works, it's a condition. Okay, we need to work on specific column, and we will say if the value is greater than something, then give me pass or give me fail. So for instance, we can do something like if, and this is a function, a valid function, and I can say quantity 7, Okay. Right now, you see the value is 7, and I can say if this value is greater or equal to 5, then give me pass. Otherwise, give me fail. Now, sorry. Now we know that 7 is greater than 5, correct? Any question regarding the if condition? So we only saying if 7 is greater or equal to 5, give me pass, otherwise give me fail. No questions? Looks like this is the basic, and if this is the basic, we can move on faster. All right, so let's see the AND function. The AND function, very similar idea. We will say, for instance, in this case, we can take the quantity. I would like to do the same, and I will use the function, and I will use the same value, 7, and I will use it. I would like to get it greater or equal to 5, just for example. By the way, I will show you that we can apply this formula all across the 100 records, okay, in very simple step. So we are saying if G2, which is 7, is greater or equal to 5, and we need the unit price for this one. We would like to take this one, and the unit price is less than 100. Let's see what it gives me, the AND function. So it's false. The way AND works, it checks whether all the arguments are true and return true if the arguments are true. So we know that in our case, 7 is greater than 5, and H2, 100, you see this is 100, is less than 100. So it gives us a false. That's the way it works, AND, because it takes two arguments to return the false or false or true. Now, if I would like to apply, apply all across the 100 rows, I don't need to write the formula again. I can just double click on this arrow and it will take it down all the way down. The same here. I will double click on this cross on the bottom right side. It will apply the formula all across the board, okay, all across the 100 records. We even have this one that we don't need. But this one, for instance, we don't need it. Any questions regarding the and if all of these formulas? All right, let's see how OR works. Or it will take either this one or that one. That's the way it works in terms of the logic, in terms of the condition. Okay, so we can use OR. It's another function. And in this case, in the OR, we would like to, one second, let's do that again. So OR, open brackets. When we work with the OR, we would like the same. I will take the 7, okay, and I will also compare it to the unit price. So the G5 should be greater equals to 5. The same idea. I would like to see different functions with the same idea, and I would like to take the unit price, which is the 100, and the 100 is less than 100. And it says true. Because it will take exactly the opposite. Let's see. Or checks whether any of the arguments are true and return true or false. Return false only if the argument is false. So the argument here is true in our case. And not will do the opposite. Let's not spend time on that. Let's see the left. When we work with the left function, the left function will take, let me do them. Left function, we can take the Toronto, for instance, the city name, and we would like to take only the first two letters from the word Toronto. So I expect to see TO. Okay. The first two letters of Toronto is TO. The first two letters of Edmonton, ED. So let's see. The left function, the way it works, you just specify the column that you would like to extract only the first two letters. The same idea with the right. With right, you can take the last two letters of something, okay? But what we can do, in this case, sorry, with the right, we can even take the order date, for instance. So we can do right. We can take the order date. And the last two letters, it's 18, right? So I would like to say only 18. Why it doesn't show me? I said the last two letters. Interesting. It should show me from the right, two letters. Why it tells me 0? I don't know. It should show me the 18. You see this one? That's all I'm saying. I would like from the right, give me the last two digits, but it gives me 00 for some reason. Interesting. How come? Okay. I'm not sure where this 81 comes from. The way the right works is it should take, let's say, the 0, for instance. Let's see, 1. Interesting. No. That's not what I expected, but it's okay. We can change it to the city. Instead of having P2, we can use maybe city, P2. And it will show me the first letter from the end. Toronto, the last letter of Toronto from the right is O, right? The last letter of Edmonton is N. Montreal is L. So that's the way the right works. Yeah, sorry. Do you have any question? Anyone has a question?
No, I was gonna say probably the order doesn't have a, data format, and that's why it was given like a different.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, when I have an error, I just keep going. I'm not trying to debug it, but I just want you to understand the difference in this function, like the left and the right, very simple function. You just use the function, you select the column, and you say basically how many letters you want to go from the right or from the left. That's it. This is the idea in terms of the right and left. Now, len, it will count the length, how long is the entire, let's say this is the name, okay? The customer name, we can count by using the len function, how many letters we have in the name Sarah Brown. So len, we just use with Sarah Brown, and we can close it. We have 10 letters. And we can just scroll all the way down. This is the idea. It will count all of these letters. I believe including the space. You see between Sarah Brown, we have space. It will count everything. All the letters that we have in this cell. So this is the len. Any questions? Let's see another example of a function, trim. Trim, the way it works, trim function will remove the spaces between letters. So for instance, let me try to maybe have a good example. Let's take the payment. The payment method, you see the debit? If I move it a little bit, okay, I just move the debit into the center, and let's just move the cash. As you can see, I have some spaces in debit and in cash. The rest are good, right? If I use the trim function, it will remove all the spaces between the letters. Okay, so I would say this one, just trim it, and it will remove, as you can see, debit is now, we removed all the spaces. The same will be with the cash. Because sometimes you will get data that you have the entire word is in the center of the column, of the cell, right? Instead of trying to move it back, like going back, and if you have millions of records, you don't want to do that. That's why you use the trim function. Trim function will remove all the empty spaces between the letters. Let's see if what I described is correct. 1 second. Trim removes all spaces from the text string except the single spaces between words. Yes, so Sarah Brown, for instance, it didn't remove. It will not remove it. It will keep it. In our case, we only have debit, so we don't have two words, but it will not remove the space between the words. Any questions regarding the trim? Okay. Let's see another example of concat. Concatenate is when we have two values and we would like to bring them together. Concatenation. So we can use this concatenate, this one. And we can concat, let's say, Sarah Brown, like the customer name. We can concatenate it with maybe city. But you can also use something like that, a comma. You can have some kind of underscore and a space with Toronto. Let's see if it works. I don't know if it works. Nice. So now I just took Sarah Brown and Toronto together with underscore in between them. The way I did it, I concatenated C2, I added the underscore, and then D2. And now I would like to apply it all across the board, and we can concatenate. Now we don't have to use this underscore, we can remove it. But the idea of concatenating is just to bring multiple columns or cells together. Any questions? All right. So now let's see something. Any questions here in terms of the functions that we are using? No questions. Okay, let's try to extract only the first name. You see the customer name? Usually the customer name will be first name and last name. This is very bad practice to have the customer name, the full name, like first name, last name, in the same cell. You would like to have Sarah Brown in two different columns. Okay, so let's do first name and let's do last name. For that, we will have to use multiple functions. I would like to extract only the first name, like Sarah. Let me just do that. Who wants to help me how to do that? Who can help me extract only the Sarah, the customer name, only the first name?
You can use left.
Left, nice.
For the-
Nice, okay, we are going, excellent. Left, we are going to select C2, right? Because we would like to extract only Sarah.
Mhm.
Okay, next one, what should I do?
Mm. How many symbols, how many letters we need to take from the left?
Yes.
But it's not
exactly.
going to work for all other cells because it has different number of letters.
Yeah, so this is a little bit more advanced. We can use find. The find function, what it will do, it will find the space. It will find the space, right? Once we have the space, again, I would like to go back to C2 because I need Sarah, space, and give me the last name, right? And right here, what I can do, I can find the space and just give me everything after the space. Something like -1 after the space, and I can close my, I can close my bracket. Sarah. Let me see. Left, find, and -5. Yes, bingo. Okay, so as you can see, by using the left function, including the find function and the spacing between them, I was able to extract Sarah. And let's see if it works for all across the board. Beautiful. I was able to extract only the first name. We can do the same to extract only the last name.
With the right function, right?
Yes, let's see if we can do that with the right function, exactly. So with the right function, we will use equal right. And then we will select the C2 because we need this guy. And then we can also use the len. We would like to count the length, the entire length of this entire name. We know that this is, the length is 10, right? So we can use len, which will give me the length of this entire string, which is first name and last name. Now we can do -find, and there again with the space. So I have my space on the C2, and I can close my bracket. So the function to bring only the last name from customer name is we're using the right. We will select it. We will subtract the length minus the find. All right. And we have Sarah Brown in different columns. Any questions? Okay, so this is the magic.
What if we have extra space in that column? We didn't trim it, and
if you have extra space, you can
yes,
you can trim it. You can start trim like that. Trim, open brackets, close brackets, right?
Okay.
You can do that. You can apply trim. That means you would like to remove if the name was a little bit with spaces. Yes, you can apply it. All right. Last one. Let's see, last one. Let's do the if error. So sometimes we need to calculate two different values. And if you divide by 0, you will get some kind of exclamation mark, dev, some garbage in Excel. You don't want to get this in Excel, right? So you want to make sure that when you do the division between two cells, you would like to get some kind of error. And this is for error handling. Okay, so let me try to explain this if error. If error, this function. So we can do 100 divide by 0. You see, we have unit price 100, discount 0. We know that we cannot divide by 0, right? And if we do that, we will get an error. But we want to say that this is a divide by 0. Let's call it 0. I don't know, just let's call it just error. We can give it a name, any name that we would like. Okay. As you can see, when we try to divide 100 by 0, we want to say this is an error. You cannot divide by 0. All the rest should be okay. Like you see these values, because you can divide 1200 by 0.1. So it will do the division. It will not give you an error. So this is the if error function. Any questions so far? Let's see the slides. So you can go ahead and review the slides. We have the basic stuff. We have the if function and or left, right, string, concat. All of these functions, we cover them. Round, you can also practice the round. Easy enough to understand. Arrow, that's exactly what we did right now. Before we get into the homework, I would like to give you some tips and tricks in Excel. Give me 1 second. I don't know if you guys know this trick, but I will show you anyway. So for instance, I have very simple table here. Okay, and think about, can you see my sheet number 6? Can you see sheet number 6? Okay, so let's say you need to extract only the first name. We did it right now with left, find, blah, blah, blah. It was long. You need to know the function and you need to apply the function. In Excel, if you go to data and you use the flash fill, okay, it will do the magic for you. So for instance, you see Ian Turner, I need to type only Ian. And let's give it another try. The second name will be Sarah. Now think about that. Right now I only have 5 records. I can have millions of records. It will do exactly the same job. Sarah. Now I would like all the rest of the columns to be just the first name. I don't want to type it and I don't want to use any functions. What I can do, Control E or Control, yes, you can do, sorry. You can do the Control E or you can do the flash fill. Let's see if it works. Sometimes it doesn't work, and I don't know why. Always when I try to demo it, it doesn't work. Yeah. And if I select, so the flash fill basically should be able to fill everything automatically, like the first name based on this pattern. I don't know why it doesn't work. You see, we looked at the data next to your selection and didn't see the pattern. So it knows the pattern because I'm using exactly the same. But let me try to delete it. And let me do something. Let me cheat something. So I will just use exactly the same name. I will remove this and Control E. For some reason, it doesn't work. I was doing that millions of times and it worked for me, no issues. For some reason, it doesn't work. But the idea of flash fill, it will automatically fill the first name of all of these guys. And I'm not sure why it doesn't work for me right now. Do you guys know how to fix it? The same idea here. So if I do 219 and then I do 88, Control E should fill out everything as is, all the rest of the rows. For some reason, it doesn't want to work for me, and I don't know why. I just wanted to show you. And sorry, it doesn't work. The demo is not working. Sorry about that. All right, so let me show you if this one doesn't work, but try it. Try it on your end. I'm not sure why it doesn't work. It was working for me maybe an hour ago, okay? Like just before the class. This is very simple example. I was using that and it was working. It doesn't work for me right now. Anyway, let me show you another example. Another example. So I tried to demo the flash fill and it doesn't work. Let's see if the second example will work for me. So I have another table here. And this table has lots of information, very similar to the one that we had before. But I would like to show you data and analyze data. So let's say you have your manager, your supervisor gave you a new spreadsheet with lots of columns, lots of rows. You have no idea about the data. What you can do, you can paste it in Excel. Maybe it was Excel already. You can paste it in Excel, the entire table. You go to data and analyze data. Once you click here, this is the AI, kind of AI, old-fashioned AI, embedded inside Excel. It will analyze the data and it will give you lots of insights. As you can see, it knows exactly that the category dairy products are the highest place. And you see on the right side, it would analyze the data automatically for us. We can insert the chart into the tab right here, into the sheet. If you click here, you already have the graph and you can see the values if needed. As you can see, it does the analysis right away for you. And it shows me that the country, Germany, has the highest units sold, things like that. And it shows me more than 35 any other analysis based on the data that we have right here in this sheet. Lots of insights just to analyze the data, to understand it. What do we have here? Okay, it can create a pivot chart. It can create a pivot chart and pivot table, I believe. We will discuss about pivot chart. I just wanted to show you the analyze data, which is right here, data, analyze data, that it shows you lots of analysis, lots of charts based on the data. You don't have to do anything. And at the same time, you can ask lots of questions. Ask questions about the data. So for instance, it gives you even suggested questions. Which is the sales rep for category produce? So you can ask all of these questions, it will answer. Insert the pivot table. You can see we have another tab. It created another pivot table for us. And so forth. You can ask all of these questions, distribute the product name by category. We have the distribution here. We can even insert it into a table. So this is very cool tool. Analyze data, discover more about your data. If this is your first time seeing a table and you would like to analyze, this is very fast and the best way to do so. Any questions regarding this tool?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So we assume by default that we can rely on it because the data is clean. But what if the data is not clean? So all this kind of analysis will be kind of skewed.
Yes, exactly. So first, I would say if this is your first time seeing this this entire table, sorry, where's the table? Definitely makes sense. Make sure that you understand the data and do some high-level profiling on the data. When I say high-level profiling, only thing you can do is just select the columns, go to data, filter, and you see it is very easy to filter and see that you don't have any funny values, right? You can see everything looks good. So this is the first profiling. You expect to see only dates, exactly like we did you expect to see only names. For instance, you see this is uppercase. So let's say if the business requirement says you only need lowercase or whatever, so you can fix it, right? You can fix it in Excel by using upper or lower functions. Just another example. But yes, back to your question, the idea is that, yes, you need to understand the data first, and then you can apply the analysis on top of that. All right?
Good. Yeah,
Yep.
thanks.
Let me try to show you this example because I don't give up easily. This example with the flash, I don't know, it was working for me, but for some reason. Okay. Let me try to extract the ID. So 6985. And then we have 4563. Now Control E doesn't work. I don't know why. I don't know why. What about the name, Emily? And Juan? Auto flash? No, doesn't work. But play with the auto flash, this one, and see why. The idea is that you don't need to use functions because based on the pattern, the auto flash should fill out the entire column for you. Okay, this is the idea. All right, let's see the homework. Today in the homework, if you go to the lesson number 4, you should be able to find a spreadsheet that has all of these car data set, manufacturer models, like big Excel spreadsheet that Paulina uploaded. What you will have to do is just download this Excel spreadsheet to your local machine and work with this, build all of these functions, basic functions on the spreadsheet that Paulina provided. Calculate the total sales, average horsepower. So it's all about the cars, right? You need to use the summary, you need to use the average, minimum, maximum, all of these functions. Count that I already showed you in the lesson. If function, sum if, count if, average if, logical function. So just to use all the function, go ahead and read it. Text function, we were working with text function, date function. By the way, if you don't know a specific function, you can always ask ChatGPT. Create a function or give the ChatGPT the cell name, what you need to do, and it will create for you the formula. It's okay, you're not cheating. This is the way we work today. So feel free to Google it. Feel free to ask ChatGPT to create a formula. At the end of the day, you just need to do your work, and ChatGPT will help you to do your work. Okay, or Google, whatever. So don't worry if you use ChatGPT to create a specific function. There is also a challenge. Yeah. Any question?
Do companies allow to use ChatGPT or similar tools at work?
Yes, lots of
In these
companies
days.
they have internal ChatGPT,
Mhm.
and you can ask all of your questions by using the right prompt, but you should never use a Excel spreadsheet and upload it to ChatGPT and ask questions, okay? Because this is definitely a big no-no. You cannot upload Excel spreadsheet into ChatGPT. You can ask about specific function, you can ask about specific how to do something, but not using company data in ChatGPT. Okay? Because the way ChatGPT works, now it will know all the customer names and it, okay, in your company. And I believe the admin or the IT people, they know how to track it if you're abusing, if you're abusing the system and you use some company data. Okay? So
Yeah,
please
it's
don't
just
do that.
safety reason.
Yes.
They don't allow to do that. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. But for our purposes and for the homework, this is kind of a sample data. Okay, you can use it the way you feel comfortable. You can upload to ChatGPT. You can ask anyone. The only thing you have to achieve the outcome. You have to do your homework and do it whatever works for you. ChatGPT, Google, Excel. You just need to answer all of these questions. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Are we good?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks. Bye-bye.